All right, we're live. Good evening, everybody. Hope everybody's doing okay. You guys doing good?
We're doing good. I'm doing good. You
How
guys
you
doing good?
I'm doing
Living the
good.
dream.
I'm doing swell.
Who do we got here today?
Well, we have a lot of stuff to talk about. We're pretty excited. Keith DeFazio has already yelled at us about staying on task and getting done within a reasonable time.
An hour and a half, not a minute longer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys can leave anytime you want. Just know that we'll be deeply sore about it.
Stuff to talk
and
about.
shun you pretty much forever.
And I have most of your email addresses.
Keith, you had a good idea. We really like the idea of promoting networking, obviously, and getting together and learning from each other. So you want to introduce our guest tonight?
Sure will. So tonight we have Brandon Dills from Jarhead Diagnostics. He's here to share with us. We also have Daryl Cogren, who's here. And both of them have actually done something that I've done in the past. And I'm sure maybe a few people out there have seen it on Facebook. But
Eat bad pizza.
did a little bit of a get-together. Yeah. Well, did a little bit of a get-together, and we'll call a technicians get-together. But Brandon, why don't you go ahead and say hello to everybody?
What's going on, everybody? Brandon with Jarhead Diagnostics. I guess I'll just start out kind of how we got ours started. About, I'd say December of last year, I had a shop owner kind of reach out to me with, hey, he had heard on Carm's podcast about a Pico club, and he was wondering if there was anything like that in our area. And I was like, no, tried to find one, couldn't. So him and I kind of got together and decided to make our own. And then we started a group chat on Facebook and started slowly adding people. And then 2020 happened in the Rona and everything kind of got sidetracked. But I think it was the first one was in August. We did our first one in August and had a special guest, Mr. Keith Perkins, decided to show up, ask for oil change halfway through. And
Awesome.
I mean, for us though, it's a pretty good thing. We do a lot of chats back and forth on Facebook, and then at our meetups, it's just we all kind of get together and we've had it twice. We're scheduling our third one. If there's a problem vehicle at the shop, we just kind of get onto that vehicle and put our heads together and try and figure out what's going on. So that way you can kind of view different ways of doing things besides just your own and just pick up different traits. And, in the group, I mean, it's pretty good, but it seems like Daryl and I's the kind of the ringleaders, I guess you could say, once they.
I don't think anybody's actually seen Daryl just yet there. So Daryl, say hello so your face pops up for everyone.
Hello, everyone. Good to see everybody.
There you go.
I go back to hiding.
Yep, there you go.
I got every one of you up there, so don't worry. Nobody's hiding.
Yeah.
Okay.
We have the whole Brady Bunch going on.
But it's him and I. We kind of, I guess, tag team the vehicles, and then most people kind of follow suit. Because we still got in our group. It's still a lot of younger technicians as far as their diagnostic abilities. So we're hoping to just kind of grow it from there. And so far, we've done one in Lexington, one in Blowing Rock, and our next one's going to be in Charlotte, North Carolina. So.
And you were
Pretty
down
good
in Blowing Rock. That was down there with Lucas Underwood, is that right?
Yeah, and then the one in...
He happens to be in our chat right now, by the way. He's down there in the comments.
Oh, really? Oh, okay. Yeah, and then the first one was Ryan Martin at Martin's Mechanics in Lexington. And then we're still trying to figure out the shop in Charlotte. We got kind of a couple different ways that we're going to go with that one, but I'm looking forward to should be here the next week or two to get that one together. So
that's great. So you started with one, and it just became a thing now where people want to start getting together more often and getting out there and sharing a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean, for us, it started. It was John Presnell and me, and then we did our group chat, and then I added Isaac, and then Isaac added a couple, and then now I think we've probably got about 25 to 30 of us, and it's everybody in just our local area. I think the furthest away is Daryl. He's from Tennessee, that weird state over there, and so whenever. But yeah, so each time that we get together, everybody just gathers at one shop. It's not like a set you have to be here. It's free. I mean, Ryan kind of set the precedence with it as far as the shop owners that just kind of followed suit, where the shop owner buys lunch for whatever shop we're at for the group, and we just go from there. And then I have most of my tools because I got my mobile gig, so I usually take my truck with me. So we got tons of different diag toys to play with, and
yeah, it seemed like when I popped in there, it seemed like everybody brought their tools along with them and had a little bit of fun.
Yeah.
So let's hop over to Daryl for a moment there. Daryl, you were there. Can you give us a little bit of input as to how you felt everything went and what you experienced?
I think everything went great. Came in, not really sure what to expect out of it. I brought all my equipment I carry around with me as well. Just try to plan for everything. And when I got there, Brandon had a lot of the same stuff I did plus more. So as far as equipment wise, it's a great variety. Some immobilizer specific stuff, different scopes, different scan tools, from a single channel, 4-channel, whatever scope to use. And then we had people from all different skill sets and all different ability levels, and it was a great mix. And that's kind of, from my understanding, that was the whole point of it, is to get guys to where they can bounce ideas off of one another and scope all the things and bounce ideas, learn from one another, grow your skill set, improve, get better. I have something I've told guys all, for a very long time is never stop being better. Not long ago, I sent Cody with a hat and, I signed my name on it and wrote him a message just to try to encourage him. And I try to do a little bit of that for various people all around that I meet. And as far as the meeting went, it was a great time. I enjoyed it. I learned, and I think everybody walked away from that meeting learning something that they could take and use right away.
That's awesome.
And that's really what it was all about. You're absolutely right. I think it was all about, sharing the idea of a diagnostic approach with one another, watching to see how someone else attacks it, and the nice thing about it is you have a group of people there. I would say probably every one of them could still diagnose that car, but everyone took a step back and let someone else take it another step further, and everybody got to watch and see, what some of those different approaches would be.
It's kind of amazing to watch the way everyone diagnoses the same problem in 6 different ways. It's kind of awesome to watch that. Not that anyone's wrong
just saying,
or
it only took me 5 minutes. I don't know about the rest of it.
I came in about 7.
Like the van.
Well, yeah, the Chevy Express van was an interesting one.
Yeah.
You were on a Denafix, so.
Anyone that knows me knows I know Chevy Express vans probably better than anyone. But, so that was probably a little bit of a cheat for me. But it was fun to watch everybody get together, though. And, and when we had done it up in New York, it was, the same type of experience. We had everyone get together. And, in that case there, we separated into small groups, which I don't know, when you went out to Lucas's shop, did you guys separate into groups at all? Or was it still one big group?
That was our plan, was to separate out, but with just the way his shop is set up, it was a little bit more difficult. And so we all kind of hung around on one vehicle. And then, like on that one, it was kind of a different experience than the first one because we stayed on that one vehicle, figured it out, and then after that, we all had lunch, and then we all just kind of had we sat around and just talked about the industry in general. So we did our diagnostics, but then for the latter half of it, it was all about industry, what we can do to improve it, and all that. So it was the experience on that one was pretty good too.
It's like the diagnostic automotive industry equivalent to church, huh?
Yeah, something like that.
Weird. No, that's cool. That sounds cool, man. I don't think I've ever done that.
I really hope everybody starts doing it. I think it's, it was an experience for me. It was kind of like a test when I first did it. I said, I wonder how this would work out. And it was, a bunch of really great technicians. And I was curious to see how everyone would get through. And Chris loved that Nissan. I got to tell you, he absolutely adored the Nissan when he was there.
Chris,
you were
which
you
Chris?
Were part of that
the Chris's loved that.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, Martino.
Yeah. No, it was a brain buster, but we eventually got it. And again, you put enough people's heads together, you'll come up with the answer. And that was the whole point of the whole thing. honestly, if it was just me on that car, it would have taken me a couple days. It would have. But you put a bunch of people on it.
Did Keith put an office chair in his van?
Oh no.
Possibly.
Which Keith? Wait, Perkins?
Perkins. Possibly.
But yeah, so
he's driving it right now.
All right, go on.
Yeah, this is the captain's chair.
The whole point was to do is for networking, and when you get enough people together, you come up with some great ideas. And if we could, incorporate this in like our daily life somehow, if you're coming up with a problem, call somebody. It's great.
I mean, my recommendation, I guess, to start out is, our way wasn't perfect by no means, but just get you 2 or 3 people that's in your local area and start a group chat through text message or Facebook, and you just slowly add it together, and then you've got a network of people in your immediate area that you have to lean on.
I'm working on putting some stuff together here in my state within an hour radius. Could definitely fill some seats pretty easy, get guys to show up. And even though I enjoyed driving 4 hours to come see you the first time, not bad. I drive that way many times, but doing about an hour radius from where I'm at would be a perfect scenario. Got plenty of shops here that I've got great relationships with that I could get into a bay, no problem. Use that space on a Saturday and start doing that here in this state. And I'd love to see it, spread nationwide and be more and more of a frequent thing that we hear talk about.
Yeah. That's pretty cool. That's really cool, actually. You know what I was thinking too is, that you could have like fairly regular occurring events, right? But then every once in a while, you could, you have the power of numbers. You can pull some money together and hire, an instructor to come out to do, something special with the group as well. I think that'd be kind of cool.
Nick had a good question. Do you think you can learn more hands-on than in class? I think that's an absolute yes, at least for most.
Yeah.
Not as many people are as smart as Bryn Klein to learn just anything,
No, please.
But yeah, I think hands-on is the best. I think a good mix of both is best, honestly.
The other part of it is do the social experiment like I did on Facebook and put it out there and say, hey, is there anyone that's within my area that that's another repair, another tech, and or even just put it out there and say, hey, where's everybody from? And you start to get a feel for how many people are actually close by that you probably talked to 10, 15 times or chatted back and forth with on a technical topic, and then you go, well, heck, that guy's right down the road.
Yeah.
And so you already have something that's probably in common with that person because you're a friend of theirs on Facebook or whatever social media you use.
Unless you're in Red Wing, Minnesota, that's not going to happen.
Yeah, Red Wing, Minnesota is not. No.
Tommy, you've been kind of quiet, but the Midwest has been known for this for a long time. You guys, there's a lot of groups that kind of get together. You and Pedro Sanchez, and you guys have had Ken Zanders out there. A lot of stuff happen up your area. You guys are always
not too long ago. We had Ken Zanders, Pedro Sanchez. Was supposed to be Pedro de la Torre, but he wasn't able to make it. A couple of instructors from the Chicago public school system, and yeah, we played around with the Ultra. It was a good time. I always try to do at least once or twice a year. I would like to do more, but it's really hard to get everybody to come out, man, especially on your, on a Saturday.
Yeah.
There's one in Houston coming up, isn't there?
Yes.
Yeah, that's going to be rather a large one as well.
What's
the deal down by us?
Yeah.
I know Paul Smith and a couple other people would love to have one down our way, Brent.
Do you know
I
anyone?
See a guy in our chat, there's a guy in our chat here, Jim Coconuts, that's asking about having. Did I say that wrong?
I think there's no T. There's no T.
I'm sorry. It scrolled by too fast. The chat was moving fast. I'm sorry.
What did he say?
What do you want?
Yeah.
I just wanted to say Jim Coconuts.
That's all you want.
I just appreciate the fact that this is going to be one time he doesn't yell at me.
The only time ever now. Like, yeah.
Now he's never going to come back again. Way to go, Keith.
I guess we should wait to iron out these details later. But you know somebody in Central Florida, Rich, to kind of centrally located, or?
I think so. Yeah.
Would be a pretty handsome gentleman.
Anybody want to come to Orlando?
Let's make the call right now. Just get them live on here.
Rich,
it's harder
nobody
for people
wants
to say
come
no.
Orlando.
That's only you, Chris.
Hey, Pedro's in the chat. Hey, Pedro.
Which one, Sanchez or De La Torre?
Sanchez.
Hey, you should give him the live mic, man.
I know. I'm gonna get him on here one day.
Brandon left.
Brandon who?
Brandon actually just lost his internet. He just sent me a message a moment ago. So his internet dropped out. He lives in the
talking about.
I'm in a van in the sticks. Come on now.
Yeah, well.
Well, yeah, we just again we wanted to invite these guys on because we think it's a pretty cool idea. I think Keith, you did this. What is it? Almost a year and a half, 2 years ago now.
Yeah,
a couple times.
I'm always jealous when I see this. So when you guys do this, go ahead and do it, but just don't let me know about it until it's done, so that I'm not like super depressed.
I'm going to give everyone out there a little bit of advice though. If you're going to do this and you're a shop owner, if you've diagnosed the cars already, those are the cars that you want to be there, because you want to be able to enjoy watching everyone else and enjoy what they're doing, rather than just being a host the whole time. At least you know what's wrong with the cars, and you get to sit back, and as you're getting the food ready and getting coffee and everything else, you get to watch to see what their approach is, because you don't want to be involved in that and then go, oh yeah, man, I forgot to get the pizza or whatever it is, I mean, in Chicago, I wouldn't suggest that, but at least whatever the food might be.
So hold on a second. Did you pre-diagnose that Nissan or not?
I mean, I had the parts.
Yeah,
you had a computer.
I think didn't we talk about that car like a couple days before?
Yeah.
I think you had said, you were like, "Have you seen this?"
Yeah, it was an interesting one.
You had a computer,
but I had it down to a computer though, and as I said, though, I'm not, like I said, there are times when I have made a call too early, and with the rush of everything that was happening, I did call a computer, and it was not a computer.
Okay, I feel better. Okay.
So that's you said you make sure that the cars that you've diagnosed are the ones that the group kind of works on. That's like an Alex Trebek syndrome kind of deal.
Yeah. Well, it's fun though, because you get to watch everyone else's approach to that same thing, and then you get to enjoy it more. I don't know how else to say that, but you get to enjoy it more because you watch everyone else and the path that they take to get there. And when we separated into groups, we alternated. So we had a Subaru that was in the bay with an injector driver that failed in the computer. I knew I'd already diagnosed that. It was 1, 2, 3 to diagnose. And then we moved on to 2 separate groups, one of more experienced techs, one of less, some of our techs that were less experienced. The less experienced techs got there faster. And watching, and it was a matter of watching to see what their approach was. And they didn't see what anyone else had diagnosed on the car. And I kind of had it separated that way. And it was really interesting to watch. And there was also a teamwork factor that was there. And make sure you have your young techs there, the ones that may be a little bit less experienced, and let them go on it for a little while, and then bring in your more experienced techs and have them look over the shoulder. And as the shop owner, that role that I played there, I was able to do that and go in and say, oh, so you've tested this also, and it right away you could see the light bulbs go off. Oh yeah, that's what we were going to do next, and then you watch the approach from there on out. But really, really, really great time.
I mean, it's really, the more I think about it, it's just brilliant. I've talked to several people about the concept of actually traveling around and somewhat documenting it, like visiting people across the nation, diagnostic technicians more specifically, and kind of traveling with them. Usually it would be the mobile guys, I would guess, but not necessarily, and just kind of documenting certain cases. And I think that would be really awesome. I mean, we attend classes and we see case studies in classes, but to see real world start to finish a diagnostic from different mindsets. But this is kind of like the more efficient and probably cheaper alternative to that. Sure. So That's pretty cool. I like it a lot, actually. I think if you're not, you got to do it. We got to do it.
Yeah, there's going to be one in Florida soon, I hear.
Yeah, Adrian just volunteered his shop.
Adrian says we have a shop. We got like 5 or 6 people said we'll be in Orlando. So
looks
I think
like
we just committed to something we weren't ready for.
Just pick a date.
As long as you're okay with him offering you tea at tea time and biscuits,
hey, I'm okay with that.
I'm pretty sure.
Is that Adrian? I'm down. I want to diagnose Land Rovers.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure.
All right, I'm out.
I'm pretty sure they mentioned a reward. Maybe.
No, I am down for diagnosing Land Rovers. Bring it on.
Very cool.
I love those piles of junk.
Jim Morton made a comment here in the comment section. He says, Keith, part of my income came from what you just said. I watched techs, mostly dealership, and talk about what I saw at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that it really is. There's so much there that you get to, you can use all that information later on and use it as a teaching point as well.
Again, he said he's used that example quite a few times. He would spend his day diagging cars and go back and just teach off of what he dealt with that day.
Mm-hmm.
It's perfect because it's real world.
Right.
I mean, that's kind of where I think a lot of us are. We have the love for the technology, but we have a love for sharing that with others. So being able to be out in the field and help other shops with their problems, it helps us to share that experience with others. It's really cool. That's kind of why I do what I do. So
I think we made Jim Kokonis bored.
Well, no, he's what he's saying is that using this format, we could do a version of that. That at one of these events, it could be interactive. What if we had a car, one of us pre-diagnosed, and we let we got 100 people, over 100 people in the chat. Let them guide our diagnostics.
Yeah, we just got four people running, switching videos and stuff, and one person just doing what they were asked to do.
Yeah.
All right, what are we doing next?
I
got this.
What's interesting, if you guys remember, that's something we talk about that. A couple years ago, we were going to do. I think Chris Martino pitched it to Scott for Diag.net, doing an event for Diag.net.
Yeah.
Because we had talked about, should we do one that we don't know, or do we do one that we already know the answer to, so we can help steer it?
I think what we decided is we were going to do one that we knew the answer, but we were just going to help keep everybody on the same, let them do their thing. But if they started chasing a rabbit too long, we'd kind of steer them back.
But also,
are you guys saying I had a good idea?
Yeah. Also, we said it had to be a real car with a real problem, and we had to have the part or the fix to repair it and prove when we were done.
Mm-hmm.
Those were all things I think we determined.
Talk about procrastination.
Yeah.
Adrian saying Steve Scott did that. It was interesting. So we're not even original. I give up.
Well, we had the idea before Steve did it, probably.
Well,
this is almost 2 years ago.
Well, Chad.
Didn't this kind of conversation happen about some kind of specific sensor that's made?
I think, Brian, you were getting ready to say Chad.
Yeah, Chad with Practical Mechanic, he does interactive type
does a lot of that
live streams as well.
Right. Yeah.
It's not with 10 people like we got going on now, but it'd be kind of interesting to do.
But he's got a lot of people in the chat, and it's actually fun. I mean, I know it's a lot of work. He puts a ton of work into that, but it's a lot of fun being involved with the chat.
And I'm so jealous of all this equipment that he's got set up. All the cameras and
he's got a heck of a studio area for the shop.
So we go to Colorado and
use his stuff.
We do the event there.
I'll go back. That was awesome.
Well, I think all those cameras came from his time spent as an adult movie star.
He is a very good-looking man.
Multi-purpose those tools, man.
So. We did lose Brandon. He didn't make it back in here. I see.
He did, and then he left.
Yeah, he was here and gone.
He's
restarting his computer. So.
Well, while we wait for him to join us back in, I thought, Matt, you're teaching for the Bimmers conference this week, right, with Randy Dillman?
Yeah, I'm just riding coattails.
What's Bimmers?
Bimmers is a BMW specific group, I guess, kind of like a independent shop group owners group for BMW, like specific stuff.
Very.
I mean, I said that about as eloquently as I possibly
Well, I mean, but that's what it is, right?
Yeah.
You didn't sugarcoat it.
As long as you don't leave any more, wrong valve cover bolts in, we'll be all right, Matt.
They tried this once when they did Volkswagen and Audi, and they had Badgers, but it really turned out with all the wrong kind of people. It did not. Yeah.
Oh, can you imagine? God. Yeah. Can you imagine doing some Google search for that? Yeah.
Yeah. I'm buying the domain right now.
If I would have just ground the tip off of that.
Yeah.
Off of what? Badgers?
Yeah.
For anyone that's not listening, just so we're clear, Matt didn't leave a wrong bolt in a valve cover, but that's been a running joke that it was Matt's fault.
Since Tech Talks, Justin Morgan. Yeah. Thanks, Justin. Yeah.
I don't talk to him anymore.
Who is going to be teaching at Bimmers as we bring it around full circle?
What's that?
Oh, yeah, Justin Morgan and Seth.
Yeah, so we're clear. Badgers.com is available.
All right.
Is that 1G or 2Gs?
1.
3.
After I made that comment, you know who popped into the chat, right? Dusty? I'm just saying, I mean, he's just like magic. He just shows up.
Uh-huh. What up, Dusty?
You're a resident expert now since you're teaching there. Tell us about Bimmers real quick, Matt. The Bimmers conference.
What you did. After what you did so eloquently, I can't top that. It's a group that puts on a conference, and their annual meeting is now it's now virtual because of COVID.
It's some guys that do some stuff.
I think they also have like a directory of professional BMW shops. They have they've got a bunch of stuff like that, right? They have a bunch of resources.
No, Bimmers, I mean, in general, is just that. It's like a group of aftermarket BMW professionals, but specifically, I guess I meant to say the conference. Like Matt was saying, it's something that you usually do at least. I think it's once a year. I guess
I'm pretty sure it's once a year, and I think it moves around. Except this year, now it's everywhere or nowhere.
Yeah, it's the same everywhere and nowhere. Yeah,
it's a series of tubes.
Obviously,
as a virtual conference. Yeah, I was about to say as a virtual conference. Though, how does that really compare to, being out there live in person? What's the interaction like?
It's the second. So, I mean, today was the first day. They had like a little registration thing and then an opening ceremony, which is going on right now, actually. And anybody that's actually participating in that and this, and you can multitask, and you get like the code that allows you to get more points so you can win stuff, be sure to share that with me within the hour so I can.
How can you actually virtually be involved? You can't do that. You can't have that contradiction in one sentence.
Yeah. Do you print up a name badge and put it on, for a picture that you could do?
Speaking of the code today was no stinking badge. So, yeah. I don't know. I mean, it's the next best thing, right? It's the world we live in right now.
Yeah, that's what you got to do.
Yeah.
It's just the way it is.
And that's an interesting conversation, right? Is training right now. My personal opinion is we've overwhelmed everybody with so much free training. People are overwhelmed with it, and now companies are trying to actually start charging for it again. And it's
Brandon,
interesting.
And Brandon's wife.
Yeah, it's the same oil change type argument, right? You get the lost leaders, or they're just trying to help the brothers out, help some techs out, get them some training. COVID hit, a lot of the conferences got canceled. Now we're just trying to help out the industry. And also get our crap together, right? Because they haven't really done a lot of it, and now we got to do it en masse. So it's also them learning as well.
Yeah.
And now
the short-term side effect is everybody's overwhelmed and doesn't want to pay for training, right?
But we've probably never had so much available so easily.
Yeah, I think long-term it's going to be great for everyone, but
yeah, you've had some heavy hitters involved probably for a long time, like WTI, CTI, but now you're getting the other guys like. Thornton's got his virtual training going now. I think he's up to 2 or 3. When has that ever happened? You could have bought a video here and there, but now to attend a virtual training class of his.
Yeah, I think
some
Schotten's
people that was
one
never
scheduled.
Accessible. Yep, I think Schotten's got one coming up. I'm sure Ziegler's got them coming or has them in the can or whatnot. And
no, it's exciting times. It's just. I don't know, every everything I'm involved with, everybody's wanting to know, should we do a virtual conference? Should we do some virtual classes? And I know that the answer should be, yeah, I guess we should, but it's just at the same time, I'm like, I don't want to do any.
Right. Well, you lose that
adding
social
to the
aspect.
noise.
Yep. Yeah. And then, like you're saying earlier with the hands-on, some people, that's how it sticks. You know, you can sit in a class for 3 hours and get all this information dumped on you, and you'll probably walk out of there really holding what, 30%, 40% at best. And then
I'll tell you,
how about 2 weeks later? How about a month later? Yeah. How much still remains?
Yeah, like Matt said, I don't think there's any replacement for hands-on use, hands-on application, doing it there in person. There will never be a full replacement for that.
No.
It's because they're doing it wrong. What they need to do is they need to run a class where the class has homework. And that homework means, if you're going to run a scope class, you're going to bring me in a cam crank pattern that you made. I want to see it tomorrow. And we want to go over it. We want to see it with variable valve timing, without variable valve timing actuation.
Can
those
I use
type of things.
Crayons, or does it have to be colored pencils?
I'm a Marine, so crayons is good for me.
Yeah. But no, that's what I mean, though. I mean, if you make it more interactive that way, I think you'd have better results. I really do.
And I know it can be done online. There's a way of being very interactive online. I mean, it's not hands-on, but I like Keith's idea is we do a scope class and go, okay, guys, tomorrow, give me cam crank, whatever car you got,
Well, if you guys recall too, we spoke with Scott, during the early Diag.net, I think they were looking to partner with CTI with doing some of that stuff in the virtual classroom. You have the virtual classroom or that training, cti.online.com or whatever, and you take the in-person class, and then you've got to log in and make sure you've done your homework as well. So I think people are thinking about doing it. Just I don't think it's been implemented.
Well, it might be cost prohibitive, but you have entities like ATEC, Console Lab. What's the virtual one that I should? Yeah, Electude. That's the one I was thinking of.
That one's amazing.
So, ATEC and Console Lab, it might be cost prohibitive to ship people large, as a company, shipping large quantities of trainers to multiple techs across, the U.S. or the world, whatever. And then having, like you're saying, the hands-on and the homework, right? ATEC specifically, I know of, has a means of having a central computer that normally would be at the head of the classroom. And you would work through your program or whatever for that section or that chapter, if you will. And then at the end, you receive those results, and then you can bug from that computer, all electronic, you can bug that board or that trainer, and they have to go figure it out. And usually the multiple choice questions aren't like 4 or 5, it's 12 or 20. They have to really know what happened, how has it failed. And that, I think that could be a way around this if this is really long term, if this is the new normal, which I don't know how long that'll last before people just get fed up with it and say,
I hate that term.
People are already fed up with it, man. People are kind of starting to just disregard stuff.
So, but if it would have come to that, then to me that ATEC or Electude Console Lab will have to come up with something where now you can sit at home and at your own pace work through these units. And also, like Keith said, you could be tested on it. Like, you have to provide results. There's no Googling this stuff.
There's Googling anything.
Just to let you know, too, Hans made two our buddy Hans.
Hans.
Hans. Remember, that's how he told us. So
Hans with no D.
Informed us that ATG actually did that in one of their classes. They actually had homework. I wasn't a part of that network class, but sure enough, they had a homework that was there for the second night, which is great to hear. And then the second part is also, he was also giving Rich, our buddy Rich here, a little bit of kudos because he and Jim had done the electrical class with the Electude simulator. And I was going to mention that as well because I thought that was terrific. That was extremely
mostly Jim, right?
Yeah, I'm sorry, that was
Jim. That was mostly Jim, right?
Yeah.
Jim who?
Yeah.
Jim who?
Thank
Jim
God.
Coconut.
Oh.
So theirs was completely interactive. They were chit-chatting back and forth along with the people that were in the room. Questions were being asked and answered. They had a third person as a moderator who helped. And I thought that was absolutely terrific. I think that was probably one of the best that I've seen so far.
Well, these can be done live. When I did my class at ATE, I made sure it was tough because people didn't know how to chime in, but once they did, it became a much better class. Right. It can be done virtually, but people got to get used to it. But once people grab hold of that, it's a great thing. Sorry, go on.
No, that's it. I think these are all great points. The virtual thing, I think we all agree, is great. It's not a replacement, but for some it might be. If your area just doesn't have training, then you're golden now. And same thing with trainers, or training companies, that they're able to reach areas that they normally wouldn't have been able to reach. So it's all good. It's just look forward to seeing you guys' faces.
It kind of helps out though also with shops that don't allow their techs to go to training, so they're able to do training on their own schedule after work or something, and they can still get their full class as much as they can.
And it's affordable, right? I mean, it's a little bit cheaper than in person, which is, again, it's not a replacement, but it's at least for people that are on a budget and have to pay for it themselves. Yeah, it's kind of nice. So, but I miss the smell of you guys.
You haven't been riding around with Martino for the last week.
Whoa! You're the one who disappeared for a half hour.
Just saying. Well,
after what I saw today, I'm sure there's some smells.
Yeah, we don't want to know.
Is it bad? I kind of do.
The things that you'll find out here in the middle of the street on Staten Island, I'll tell you.
So our homework to you guys is to start your play dates. Can we call it play dates? Is that okay?
I don't think so. I don't think we should call it that.
Just as long as everybody holds hands when they get there.
It sounded really good until you said it out loud.
Brandon, what are you calling? You're not calling it play dates?
No.
Can we call it diagnostic get-together?
Something, because the first time I ever met Brandon Steckler, I'm teaching a class in Fort Myers. He walks up to me and he goes, "You want to get together for a play date?" And I'm,
you have to get permission from your mom.
Yeah.
That was before
my mom.
That was before he was famous too, right?
Yes, that was.
When is he was? There is such a time.
Well, there was Brandon pre and post White Claws days, so it depends on which one.
Well, now he is the
pumpkin
Brandon
spice
Steckler.
White Claw.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Well, did we have an agenda for tonight? I forget.
Yeah, I want to hear Brent talk.
This is it.
We did, but I also wanted to ask though too, because I realized that not everybody knows who Daryl is. Daryl, what do you do?
I work in diagnostic sales. That's my main job. And in my time when I'm not out working with franchises on the trucks, I trying to build up a mobile business on the weekends, doing diagnostics and programming work, and helping other shops out. So part of my background is as a technical trainer, nationwide technical trainer. Other than that, spent 17 years in the diagnostic field as an independent technician and a dealership technician. So had a fortunate list of experiences in my backgrounds where I've gained some skill sets and been able to expand them. And I don't want to stop there. I want to pass those the stuff that I've been able to learn over time onto others. Like Matt on here. Matt is the one that really gave me my big leap start into using my Pico. And so I have him to thank for it up at Stark State. You remember that? It's been a few years ago.
I remember showing you where the help menu was.
But, credit, blame,
class
whatever.
Dismissed. Class dismissed.
Here's a book. Good night.
RTFM. Next.
So my heart's with diagnostics and problem solving. I like puzzles, so I just treat it like that. Helping others, helping shops, growing a business, whatever. That's the fun part to me.
Heck yeah, man. You want to give Brandon a couple minutes to talk about some of your products, bud? Some new stuff. You got some new stuff too, right?
Not a whole lot. PJ from Voltage Drop, him and I kind of discussed the little thing for helping out with parasitic draws, just a shunt and you measure the voltage drop of the custom match channel.
Do you want me to make a hint for you? Pink.
Sure. Oh.
Let's talk about pink.
Let's do that.
And
let's
don't
do that.
include
Can we do
Martino,
that?
please.
Say what?
Victoria's Secret franchise or what?
Oh, we're talking about something different. Never mind.
Oh,
yeah.
Back to Badgers?
Not the Aerosmith.
Keith, that was a secret between you and I, man.
Sorry.
I'm sorry.
No, actually, Cody with Cody's Auto Diagnostics and myself, we kind of teamed up together. We're kind of helping out with breast cancer this month. Any of my pink products that I sell, if you purchase one, 10% of all sales is going to go to breast cancer, either research or to survivors. And then also, if same as Cody purchases any of his pink sensors, and then if you purchase any of my pink sensors or any of Cody's, you're going to get entered into kind of a giveaway we're doing. It's going to the giveaway is kind of on a tiered system depending on how much we actually sell for the month. It started out with I got to use Snap-on Pass-Through 3. I was going to give away automatically, and then if we sell enough, it'll go to an e-scan, and then if we sell a lot, it'll go to an e-scope 4-channel. And then we had a couple of different companies reach out and add some more stuff. So we got Curian with their new wireless DVOM. They offered us that, and then we've also got same company offered us a breakout box and a power probe. So
that's awesome.
So
that's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, we're mainly doing it to give back to breast cancer stuff, and also technicians. You help us, we'll help you, and just kind of like what we're discussing all tonight, just growing the community and growing technicians. I mean, you need good tools and reliable tools, so why not do it all at once?
Cody's making pressure pulse sensors, and you're making what?
Well, mine's the same thing, but mine's called my VA sensors, Jarhead and VA. So, and then I've also my 5-volt boxes, WPS cases, almost any product that I actually make, I do in pink. So any of those items, just as long as you purchase it in pink, then 10% of that's going to go to the charities. So
definitely
to piggyback a little bit, just if you don't mind, kind of like what he's talking about there, doing the portions to benefit breast cancer awareness. I chose to order one from Cody, but it's not coming to me. It's going to a friend of mine that's just getting into this. I already have my own that I've used for a long time. I have plenty, and he doesn't. So I called Cody up, said, hey, put me down for one, but put his name down instead for the drawing, and then I'm gonna have him send the sensor to him. So maybe a little challenge to some others out there. If you've already got equipment, somebody in need, get in on this, put their name in the hat, and just to pass that good fortune on to another out there.
That's a good point.
That's awesome.
Yeah, check out Brandon's stuff, Jarhead Diagnostics. I've been impressed with what I've seen. Looks very well made, very professional.
I appreciate that, sir.
All right, so we have a couple case studies, I think, tonight. Should we get into something?
At least one.
At least one. At least one. I have one that I'd like to share. If you guys are, should we ask the audience? Are they ready to go home? They want to see a case study. Well, we're going to do it no matter what they say, I guess, right? I haven't looked at this thing in a while, so bear with me. My plan was to kind of go over it today and get prepared, and I didn't. So let me see how I can share. Will you guys help me with this, please?
There's a button.
RTFM.
You got to touch that button with your finger.
I mean, help me with the diagnostic process here. Also, the host
what's the diagnostic process?
The host has disabled my ability.
Read code. Yeah, it's read codes, load shotgun.
I forgot my password. I don't have it on this computer.
Start with 2 brands specifically of parts.
We can name them.
Oh, let's not.
We don't have to name them, do we? Okay.
We should not name them.
You have been granted the permission to share.
All right, we're going. So, wait a minute.
Not that screen, the other one.
Yes.
Whoa.
That would be a bad day.
Ooh,
All right.
What's
the deal?
How do I minimize y'all? I need your help. I got to see your faces, though.
You don't want to see our
It's
face.
the first time I've ever heard that.
It'll probably just be a lot of eye rolling.
I could hear those. All right, will you guys help me with this, please?
2018 Ford Explorer.
Canada.
This is a shop. This is a shop that I do mobile for. It's really close to me, though, so which is good. But anyways, this is one of those shops you really wish would lose your number. And when I started doing some mobile work for shops near me, I always thought, we'll find out like if they're total disaster to work with, and I'll just divorce them. It's much harder than you think to divorce some of these shops. But every time I work with this shop, he's like a car lot. He has a service facility there, but he buys like a lot of salvage floods and stuff like this, which obviously become disasters more often than not. This one was definitely no exception. This is a 2018 Ford Explorer. He called me out initially to program the HVAC module. I didn't know initially that it was a communication issue. So, and most of us that have gone out that do this stuff mobile, that's certainly not surprise. So the deal was he asked us to come out and program the HVAC module, and it was unresponsive when we got there. That's when he started to share a little bit more with me. It was a salvage flood. I think it was an accident. So it was a salvage car. It was in an accident, right side impact, and apparently he paid another shop to use a donor dash, because the dash got cracked from the side impact, and transfer the dash out of a donor vehicle into this vehicle. And so as I'm standing there, he's talking to me, and he's like, well, they were supposed to use the harness of the original vehicle, but I don't know, the shop really did a bad job. And so I'm thinking this could be ugly.
Hey, Bryn, could you go back one slide?
Yeah.
All right, never mind. Someone said no corn in the chat, and I was wondering if you misspelled something, but it looks good.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Thank you. It's totally possible. I am an 8th grade education, so. So anyways, I thought it was probably going to get ugly, and this shop is really close to me, so I said, please do me a favor and get the vehicle over to the shop. So he did, and it's drivable, luckily. So initially, we decided to retrieve what codes were there.
Ooh.
And this is...
it's Apple for the cipher.
Standard Ford.
It's all of the codes?
It's all of the codes.
Start at the top, work your way down.
Obviously, I can't come with the HVAC, and that's kind of a big hint there. I don't know. I mentioned this in Tech Talks. I think it's important, especially for folks getting into diagnostics. You've been in these situations where you have 60 fault codes. It can be overwhelming. To try to sift, I think it's important you document it. Trying to sift through and determine which ones are going to give us a good diagnostic direction, it can be challenging. So, but in this case, obviously, this is when he told me, actually, I hadn't left yet. This is when he told me that the dash had been replaced from a donor vehicle.
The whole dash? Cool.
The whole dash. So work through all of this, or really focus on the main thing that we're experiencing here, which is the lack of communication with the HVAC module. Did somebody draw that red thing on there?
Never.
That red circle?
No.
Let's make sure that we don't get too carried away with the drawing.
Save that for mine.
It's a rocket ship, I promise.
Moving on. Chris, behave.
Listen, it's not my fault the diagram was drawn like that.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. That was simultaneously a good and bad night at the same time.
That was just a great night.
So, I mean,
moving on.
Obviously, for me, the first part was, I mean, you know where the HVAC module is, but we wanted to point out here, and then we wanted to look at some diagrams. I wanted to make sure that we had your typical stuff. So we have battery power here, ground here, and then medium speed CAN here. Pretty simple, really. I mean, it's HVAC module. We didn't really expect it to be too complicated.
Which connector?
Which connector is it? So the C228A is our connector. So that's where everything's at, basically. C22A, we checking power and grounds, and everything looks good.
Whoa, go back.
Wait a second.
Go back. LED test light?
Are you front probing a connector with a test light?
With an LED test light?
Say that it's a bad thing.
This is live. Yeah, this is definitely live. I'm actually doing this right now. Yes.
All right, you're fired.
That test light looks like 11.7 volts.
Just want to say, I tried using the exact same thing that's on the screen when I got my report card, and B- was not good enough.
Yeah, that B-, goodness gracious, thank you.
Is that test light on fire?
I will never fix that thing. I put that fireball on that test light. Here's the deal, guys. All right.
I have a better picture for a test light on TV.
Yeah, you've also got a better video of a fireball.
This is what happens when you forget some documenting steps. You know how long it took me? It actually took me quite some time to put that on there. I should have just said, Chris, send me some test lights.
You should have just given it to
fabricate the end of the test light.
I did. Yeah, you see that?
Yeah.
It's
I can see it.
You seem more like a power probe guy, but
shut your mouth.
A lighted.
Why is that lead so taut? You're gonna break the thing.
No, the question is, why is he?
We had to route it all the way from the battery under the hood inside. It's tight.
First of all, what's taut?
Taut.
No, see, that's where you guys get it wrong. It's easy if you just connect the power probe to a jump box, and then you don't have to worry about that.
There you go.
Why
the jump box on the floor? Yeah.
I just want to know why you were probing 23.
23.
Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
All right, we're off topic, guys.
Oh, well, we had,
yes.
There we go. So we had battery.
Really?
Oh.
See, B+, I told you.
B+, so that was the good grade, and then B negative. So we had good power and grounds. Now it's time to check the network. We can see the HVACs on the medium speed CAN. So we check medium speed CAN, and we should have
very aliased.
We should have used a Pico. But we were able to do what we needed to do.
It's a Halloween theme. It looks like teeth.
Daryl, what kind of sweep speed do we need for medium speed CAN?
Looking at this, you're going to need about a 0.5 to 1 millisecond. No more than that.
Yeah.
Total sweep.
So are we good? I mean, we check power and grounds in the module, and we're checking medium speed CAN here at the module. Our bias voltage and toggling voltage looks pretty good, you know?
Something's happening.
Can you zoom in on that?
No.
He can zoom out, though.
That was a good one.
Oh, that was great.
Yep.
I'm trying to use the pinch zoom on my screen, and it doesn't work.
We're such dicks too. I mean, like there's some people on here that aren't getting the inside jokes, and we just sound like idiots, right?
Yeah. So do you have the other two channels on there just for your cursors?
You know what's funnier than that is the fact that I just called Snap-on Scope's inside jokes, basically.
It's funny because it's true. Well, you can do even better. You can try looking at it on an ATS. At least you saw something that can actually see the pattern.
Okay.
Sorry, I said that out loud.
Speed can.
So basically, I want to touch on that. I mean, some people may not understand what we're talking about. With snap-ons, you cannot zoom in from whatever you capture. You can only zoom out to the buffered view. So each time a scope capture fills a screen, that's one page in a buffer, and it saves the buffer. What is it, 234? What is it? I can't remember. Whatever, 200 something pages that's in the buffer. So you want to make sure that whatever you're capturing, you're using less sweep speed, the least amount of possible while still capturing something that's usable. Oftentimes when I use Snap-on, when I'm capturing, the sweep speed is so fast that this waveform doesn't look like you would expect it should look like, because I know that I can never zoom in any closer, but I can zoom out. And that's kind of what Matt was referring to. So, and Brent and Brian. So can we zoom in? No, we cannot zoom in. We can only zoom out. So that's, and the other part is aliasing with Snap-on, especially with fast circuits like these. It's easy for the capture to not really represent what's actually going on if you put too much time on. So moving on.
That's actually a really important screen right there, though. That's the one that I really appreciate. And where did you find that topology? That would be in this.
It's under the thing listed as network communications.
Beautiful thing. Yeah, it was just one of those pages there that when you look at that, you get a real understanding of what it is that you're actually plugging into, right?
Mm-hmm. You got everything. Yeah.
Let's say you had no CAN communication out there on that medium speed bus. What would you be thinking, right? Let's say you didn't test it from the HVAC and you decided to go from the DLC. There's so much more to that one picture that I really appreciated when they put those topology pictures out there.
I think that's key. No, you're not off topic at all. That's key to any network diagnostics is understanding how, the topology, which is basically a diagram, a simple diagram of how the buses are laid out and how the modules are laid out on the buses. And so you can see here, there's a lot going on. So we see this network topology shows us that there's two networks. There's a high-speed CAN and a medium-speed CAN, and there's a gateway module that translates messages between the two. But the important thing here is to recognize is that gateway module, everything goes through that gateway module, especially scan tool to any module communication goes through that gateway module. So it's something to consider as you move forward. But if you'll recall, obviously we're plugged in. DLC is part of that gateway module, so we're plugged into that gateway module, and we can't communicate with that HVAC. But we've checked power, ignition, and grounds, and network at that HVAC, and everything looks good. So technically, you'd think we should be able to, but we can't. So now we're going to locate this. What are we locating here? I can't even remember.
Brand, that's good information. We
Gateway
use
module.
Anyway, because on these vehicles, it goes back to 2017 when Ford started incorporating those.
Yeah, and so I found the gateway module, which from the topology, you see the DLC is there, but for some reason I felt it important to show you guys where it was. It's there where the DLC is. So we checked the medium speed CAN at the gateway module, and would you guys say that looks all right?
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, looks okay. It looks. So these medium speed CANs are going to be bias voltage at 2.5. The positive side is going to toggle from roughly 2.5 to 3.5, and then negative side or minus side, however you want to say it, it's going to toggle from the bias voltage at 2.5 to 1.5, and we look pretty good. And again, going back to Snap-on, if you have too much time on the screen, it's not going to look like this. It's going to look like a mess, and you're going to spend an hour trying to figure out why you have bus circuit problems when you don't, potentially.
So what you're saying is take a Snap-on scope class? You know anybody that teaches one?
Yeah, me and whoever's a sucker enough to help me.
I did it once.
I've done it.
So what do we do at this point? We got no comm, but from the scan tool to the HVAC module, we've checked power and grounds, network at both the gateway module and the HVAC module. It looks pretty good. Would you guys agree we should have communication? Yes, sir.
Somebody's asking, and I lost who it was. Joe, only HVAC communications lost? Are the other modules on medium speed CAN talking?
That's a great point. Certainly we need to consider that. If we go back to this topology, as you can see, we mentioned there's two networks on here, high speed and medium speed, and everything goes through the gateway. But his question was perfect. Can we talk to any other modules on that medium speed CAN? Because you can see here, there's obviously a lot more modules on that medium speed CAN. So,
good question, Joe Anderson.
Yep. Like I mentioned, I don't even know what the next slide is. So let's see. That's a great question. I'll just go ahead and lead to this. Scan tool module communication goes through this gateway module. One thing, did you guys forget? We have a dash out of a donor here.
Oh, jeez.
Could we have, because this bolts to the dash, right?
No, they're all the same.
They're all the same?
No. I'm just telling you what the guy who put the dash in said.
Yeah. So no, it was not. So basically we took the part number off the old one, or engineer number, whatever it was. I can't recall if it was, I guess it's probably an engineer number.
You had the old one?
We had, no, so we don't. But we took the number off the one that was mounted in there, and we called our vendor and asked them if it was the right one for the vehicle, and they said it was not. So we contacted the guy, the shop owner, and told him the situation. We said, at this point, we do not want to really go any further until we've got the right gateway module in, and he could not find it. That's why he asked me to come out and program the HVAC module, by the way, is because whoever did the dash replacement had misplaced the original HVAC module. But now he could not find the gateway module, so he eventually got us one.
So what was the determining factor there to say that it was not the HVAC module?
It was a brand new HVAC module that he asked us to program, and it had power, grounds, and good bus communication to it. So, I don't know. I didn't see any reason to be skeptical of that at that point. He towed it to our. Go ahead.
So what your theory is since something else is complaining that it couldn't talk, that this gateway module did not have that HVAC module in the bus?
So we're getting a little bit ahead of ourselves. We are now just finally getting to that answer. And this is all pretty quick, at least this portion of it. There is some times where it certainly dragged my ass through the mud for a while. But when I saw, I just thought, let me see. I don't know. I could have gone a different direction. I don't even remember at this point. Like, did I consider part of the problem when you're looking at this, like this topology, right? And the question that Joe Anderson asked is perfect. Is there any other medium speed CANs communicating? Part of the problem is with Ford, it's not like Chrysler. Chrysler, we're fortunate if we have the factory scan tool YTech to see if the module is built on the vehicle. It doesn't always work that way for Fords. They have optional modules that may or may not be equipped on the vehicle, and their network test, at least you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but when I've done the network test, I haven't been able to differentiate which module's equipped with what. So anyways, there is a network test. We're fortunate to have the factory scan tool, so we ran the network test, and you can see this on the medium speed CAN 1 network here. You can see the rear gate. It's like the rear lift gate module. That one is communicating, but nobody else on the medium speed CAN bus is communicating. So if you look at this topology again, gateway module to HVAC. Oh, here's what we did. I told you I don't even remember what we did. We decided to jump from the CAN network, from the medium speed medium speed CAN network, from the gateway module, the HVAC, just to see what we got. So we found the connectors on both and physically jumped them. There's the picture of the shot.
Hey, Bryn.
Yeah.
Jose had a question in the chat.
Okay.
As you prep for a diag, how do you figure out which module to begin at? Which I think it kind of applies to where you are right now.
What do you mean? I'm not sure I understand.
So as you prep for a network diagnostic, how do you figure which module to begin?
Probably to scope the network,
I think it really depends upon what kind of problem you're dealing with. Are you dealing with like this one where we have a network-wide medium speed CAN down, or we have an individual module? And he's probably referring to, how do you figure this out if all of them are down? Where do you start?
Yeah.
My answer was the easiest one to get to.
Correct. Mine's the same.
Yeah. I mean, in this case, we were called out for something very specific. They wanted us to program an HVAC module, and we determined at that point we had no comm with that HVAC module. It's hanging there in our face. I can scope the CAN. I know what the CAN network should look like. I know it should have power and grounds. So I checked those things, and it looked good. My next logical thought process is, this dash has been came from another vehicle. This gateway module might not be right. Let me just throw it in there. I could have started with a network test in this case, but part of the reason that I'm not necessarily jumping straight to this is because it's not perfect. You don't necessarily know what modules are on the vehicle versus not. I mean, you could take a few minutes and determine, but to answer your question, it is really understanding how the network should be. It's a combination of all kinds of stuff. So if we'd have done if we would have known this vehicle a little better, and we knew that one module was not responsible with the rest are, then we're probably dealing with either a problem with that module or the bus, the bus between that module and the rest of the module. So it does differ depending on what kind of failure you're dealing with. I don't know if that's the guys think that's a good way to respond, but the guys mentioned what's one easiest to get to. That's definitely part of it. We're all have to work on efficiency, so we have to consider accessibility to this stuff as well.
I mean, one quick trick you could also do to kind of help out is ohm the circuit. I mean, you should have 60 ohms, so that if you've got 60, then both your terminating resistors are good, and it kind of lets you know, okay, at least those two modules are potentially good. Then you can go look at the other ones as well.
That could be helpful. I usually grab a scope because it tells me everything I want to know, pretty much, in my opinion, right away. Definitely this type of system, you have two 120 ohm resistors, so you should have 60 ohms as long as, and you can check it. As long as the other thing to consider is the real network may not be accessible. Like in this case, you check at pin 6 and 14, you're checking at the gateway. You're not necessarily checking, or the DLC, you're not necessarily checking beyond there on the gateway side. So then you'd have to consider where you'd want to access, which could be at the backside of that gateway module. But so anyways, we jumped from the gateway to the HVAC module, the medium speed CAN, and this is what happened. If you'll recall, we had only comm with that rear lift gate module, and now we have comm with a lot more modules. Heated steering wheel module, HVAC, obviously, rear lift gate, which we already had, rear HVAC module. I can't remember what RTM is right now. The bottom one here is side object detection right. So interesting. I mean, it's an interesting quick test we did, and we were able to get some of the modules back online. But do we have a legitimate problem with the other ones, or are they not built with the car? Well, we know if it has side object detection right, it's probably got side object detection left, which is right next to it. You guys see where that's red, right? Good?
Yep.
I've never seen this case study before, but I'm just thinking, for those following at home, scope and CAN signals at a module that doesn't communicate doesn't necessarily prove the communication's taking place there. That's true. Often you'll want to use 4 channels or 2 channels in such a way that you could test from another module that would be on that network that you can communicate with. In this case, maybe the gateway module or one of those other modules that just so happens to be communicating. Hopefully it's easy to get to, and verify that those CAN signals match perfectly, because what could be happening is that module, the HVAC module, is getting power feed and ground, so it's generating a signal. There could be your CAN signals there. They're just never getting anywhere to talk to anything, or vice versa, right? You don't have the communication. Kind of like your slide about the illusion of communication taking place, is that it looks like you have the CAN signals at the HVAC module, but it could be just the HVAC module trying to talk, like, hey, where is everybody? What's going on? Mm-hmm. And so dual tracing or 4 channels. What's that?
Checking plugged in and unplugged will give you a little bit of that too. Is it coming from the network side, or is this all just jazz that's being generated by my module and the wire goes off to deep space?
Yeah. That's a good point. I guess when I checked at the HVAC, you're checking, and I do that oftentimes. I'll use 4 channels and check at one module. It's a great point. Thank for bringing that up. But I'll check a module that I can communicate with on the same network and compare it. And like Matt said, it should be identical. In this case, it's really, I was using the Snap-on for some reason, and I could see I could use 4 channels on the Snap-on and do the same thing, but I just didn't. But I could see at least that the bias voltage and the toggle voltage is good. So I know that I don't have like a short to ground, or, at least, there's probably not a module screwing up the network, or there's no short to ground. Yes, we could still have potentially an open, because what I'm seeing, the activity that I'm seeing may be produced from the HVAC. It doesn't mean that the network's intact between that module and others, which we're finding here is obviously the case, right? Because we jumped from the gateway module to the HVAC, and now we have a lot more modules on that medium speed CAN bus responding. So what does that tell us?
Because you got a splice after the thingy. I don't know.
You've got an open somewhere.
You got an open somewhere, right? At
least one open.
Basically, as Matt was alluding to, what you're seeing could be produced by that module, so you don't really know that the bus is actually intact. Well, by jumping the gateway to the HVAC module, we proved that it has to be open somewhere, now that we can see that additional modules are responding.
Well, and if all of them aren't responding, you have more than one open, right?
If all of them aren't responding,
I don't know where this one goes, so I don't know if that's the case or not. I haven't seen this case study, but you just jumped to the HVAC to there, and you can't see everything, so you've got more than one.
You can't see everything. Here's the thing: do we have a DDM? Do we have a DSM? Do we have a GPSM? Do we have
gotcha.
Do we have an SCME? We don't know. It takes some time. It's not hugely, but you have to invest some time in it to determine whether these modules are equipped on this vehicle or not.
Or you just clear the codes and see if there's anything left.
But what we do know is it has a side object detection, right? We know that at a glance. If we know what a SODR, and it's got to have an SODL.
What's the deal?
I don't even remember these quotes, so we'll move on. What does that say, though?
Something about boating. I don't remember.
Here's the thing. We know that we have an open, just like you guys helped me with. I appreciate you guys helping me with this. It's definitely hard to do some of these case studies, especially when you don't even remember the case study to a virtual audience. But we obviously have a donor out of a dash, and supposedly all of this stuff happened after that transpired. So my focus point, and maybe you guys will disagree, but my focus point would be, let's look at the harness, the dash harness, right? I mean, if that was just replaced, then most likely we are going to have some open circuits in there. But we could look at the diagram and really study it and understand why we had no comm with these modules until we jumped it, and then that could kind of help us get a direction too. But me just thinking on my feet, this dash has been out. I'm just going to see which connectors. We're going to look at the diagram really close. I'm going to see which connectors are in the dash and just find them real quick and see. So the first one I see is a 2447. And then here's 2447, and we can see that it's connected, so we're good. I was really hoping that it wasn't the case, find something really quick. So now we look at a 2442, and we see the 2442, which is, where is it at? Okay, right side behind the glove box. We look at the 2442, and we see that it's good. We have a C211, which is an inline. Those other ones are splice deals. The C211 is inline on the right side, behind the right side kick panel. So we see the C211 is great. The next one is a C210, which is in the driver's side inline. And this is basically how I felt, because those are all 4 connectors in the dash. Like, what the frick, man?
Language.
So now, as I mentioned a moment ago, we can look at a diagram, compare what modules we have communications with versus what we didn't have with versus what we did after we spliced them, and kind of get an idea of maybe where the open circuit was. So here's the medium speed gateway module. You see it come, that medium speed, or the gateway module, the medium speed bus comes out there. The ones that I X'd out, I did some investigating and determined that this vehicle is not equipped with those modules. So as you see on the left-hand side, this G and H, this is coming into the diagram here. It goes into this joint connector 3, which is the 2447, which I can't recall now. That's one that we looked at. And it goes up. Let's see. In this case, the joint, we have the joint connector to consider. We have this other connector here to consider, C211, which we know we looked at, and it's plugged in. Great. Okay, so we checked both of those. Why can I not advance the slide? There we go. Yeah, there are other modules on here, but they're not equipped on this vehicle. So we have the 1410. If you look over on the right, I think that's what is it, 1410? No, it's, where is 1410? Is that at the bottom? Maybe I might have messed up here. Q and R. Oh, there it's the top. Okay, the Q and R at the top of the, or top right of this, come here, and this is joint connector 4. We have the C3403. Are there any modules? There is. There's the liftgate trunk module, which we knew we did have COM with originally. As you can see, here's that network test where we found that we did have COM with the liftgate module. So then we go on this 14-11, the YZ comes in here. We do have modules. We have the side object detection left, which we don't have communication with. We didn't have communication with the side object detection right until we spliced it. So we can say we didn't have communication with any of all of these modules. The RTM, what the hell is the RTM? Does it say radio transceiver?
Radio transceiver.
Remote transceiver module.
So we have a C405 and a C4386 to consider here. Here we come in and we have the passenger door module at the top is does not equipped with this vehicle, but we do have the HSWM. What the hell is that? The steering wheel module, heated steering wheel, I think, and the rear HVAC module and the HVAC module, which we don't have communications with. And we have the C210 and the C22442, which we checked and found that they were connected. So this is the diagram I have. We can only communicate with this. And if you start from the top and just kind of serpentine down, that's kind of the flow of this network. And you look at this gateway module and we serpentine down, we know we have communication with this liftgate control module. It's the only one responding. When we jumped the gateway module to the HVAC module, we had a lot of other modules. All modules respond when jumping the medium speed CAN from the HVAC, with the exception. Now, again, it's important that you understand that you have to take the time to see what modules are equipped on it. At this point, you can see through my slides there, I took the time to determine that, the passenger door module is not equipped. The, anyways, I determined which ones were not equipped. So we can see we have communication with the liftgate module. When we connected to the HVAC module from the gateway module, we could communicate with everything except for the side object detection left. So what's the common point at that point? Basically, the connector that's exactly downstream from the trunk module, right? We have communication with the liftgate trunk module. What's immediately downstream of that is the C405. So we look at the C405 and we're bummed out again because it's connected. But if you look close, you have medium speed CAN wires on one side and no medium speed CAN wires on the other. I jumped the medium speed CAN wires at the connector itself. So basically coming in and out, if I looked at the diagram, I recognized that at this connector, it goes through the other side of the harness and then to the left side object detection and comes back to that inline connector. So I went ahead and just jumped it myself, and this is what we have. So the reason, let's see, side object detection left, you'll notice on this is still not responding.
Yeah.
I didn't disable it. This is a rear bumper harness, and this rear bumper harness, let me say this side object detection was hanging loose like this. It wasn't down like that. It was up, actually clipped into place, but it wasn't plugged into anything. So that's why the side object detection left is not responding still. So we checked the numbers. We have an engineer number on this harness. We checked it with our vendor, and the vendor says, oh man, am I done here? Basically, we don't have a match. So we found out.
Go back to that part number. So for anyone that's not aware, the first digits there, the JB5T, that's the vehicle. The 14N139 means that's the part. All of those harnesses for that section of every one of those cars, doesn't matter your make model, is a 14N139. Like every Ford PCM is a 12A650 until they went to a PCM TCM combo or went to a new generation controller. So then the last ones are a revision number, DB. So if they've made like improvements to the part. So if you're looking at these Ford part numbers and you're trying to figure out what's going on, the first set of numbers is what vehicle it is, the middle is what part it is, and the end is what revision of that part it is.
JB5Z
and a JB5T. So those are two different vehicles. Now, there are supersedes on those parts. So you do need to call your Ford dealer and confirm. But a JB5T and a JB5Z are two different vehicles.
Yeah. So basically, this is what we should have, and that's what we have. So we don't have the right harness.
And a 15K868 is probably a harness for non-medium speed CAN, and the 14N139 are medium speed CAN ones or whatever, or vice versa.
Well, basically, with talking with the dealer, this vehicle did have blind spot monitor. He said the ones that we have the one that we had does not have blind spot monitor, which is why we don't have the side object detection left sensor plugged into anything, because it's the rear bumper harness is wrong. Basically, it doesn't have, it's for a vehicle that doesn't have blind spot. So once we got the harness kind of in place, I gave the guy the option. You want me to pull the bumper and put it on? It's going to cost you more money. You want me to just plug it in and verify that everything's fixed with that network anyways and program that module? And we can do that. So we did just that. We got the harness in, just plugged it up and checked in. Every module that's equipped on this van on the medium speed CAN bus is good. So we were able to get that fixed and programmed as HVAC module. So can you guys monitor, see if there's any questions? Can you guys bring up any points?
Ben said that LKQ said it would work.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Mannheim interchange says it's good to go. Let's do it.
I know it's kind of tough to walk through these, and especially my memory sucks. It's been a long time, and I can't recall exactly. I should have spent more time in preparing for this one today, and I apologize. But ultimately, what I did here is just make it easier on the eyes. And I think this helps just to know that starting at the top left's gateway module, and you go to the right, and you come down to that lift gate trunk module, and then the network goes to the left through that C405 to the side object detection left, and then back through to all these other modules. And just recognizing, kind of like somebody asked early on, what other were there any other modules on that medium speed CAN bus that were communicating, and being able to recognize that lift gate trunk module was, but nothing else wasn't. Pretty much then, if you really wanted to not focus on the dash, because that's really when this problem occurred, right, is when the dash got changed, you would have gone straight to looking at the diagram and seeing what could be the problem. And we could see that C405, anything downstream of there is not communicating. So we're probably dealing with something with that C405. It helped to jump them and see everything come back together. The only thing that didn't was the side object detection left. But now in hindsight, we understand that because the rear bumper harness is not, was wrong, and it's for vehicles not equipped with blind spot monitoring.
So is this car from Staten Island by any chance?
The guy is a New Yorker.
All right, that makes a lot of sense right there. Now I understand.
It had a Canadian license plate, which is odd for someone that lives in Florida.
So I call him up and I said, "You have the wrong rear bumper harness," and he says, "Oh yeah, we did have that off." Thanks.
By the way.
Yeah.
So let me stop sharing. Any questions from anybody?
Well, they only get 2 minutes for it because it's 10:28.
No time for mine. Darn.
Well, you're going to do yours.
However, next week we'll be happy to see you all back here.
Yeah.
Yours is short, right?
It's not 2 minutes short.
What? Coming from Rich?
That's not what I heard.
Don't do it.
Ruh-roh.
It was left wide open.
I would like to point out that I am not the one making these jokes this time. Just saying.
Sam Saley, thank you for the $10 donation.
Yeah, cool.
Really appreciate that.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, thank you.
Perkins, did you get a haircut? Because your hair looks real short.
It looks real short. Hold on, let me fix it. How's it look now?
Okay, now it looks. Okay, that you're looking different.
Everyone comments on my hair when I don't have my sunglasses on, mainly because I always have them on.
Okay, now you look normal.
All right.
I love getting half the story from the customers. Yeah, the shops are worse.
What does the bumper have to do with anything? Oh, well.
No, I was waiting for that part. When you told me her bumper harness, I was waiting for you to say, and he said, "What does that matter?"
Yeah. No,
I have guys I deal with on the phone that I literally have to ask them how many cars made up this car. No, seriously, I gotta ask them because you'll go 45 minutes before they start talking, and you'll think your whole diagnosis is wrong, especially when you're dealing with immobilizer stuff.
Yeah,
and trying to figure out why a car won't learn this key. Then you got to tell them, well, how many? Well, yeah, I took the steering lock out of this car, and the ECM came out of this other car, and the transmission control module came out of this car. Well, sir, this car will never start.
Ever again.
Yeah, I mean, I get those all the time because I get the ones where they're like, I had one recently where like it was a no crank, no start after they put a motor in, and someone neglected to tell me that the plug for the power steering module was cut off, and none of them connected the dots of our CAN network is open because it's an electric power steering rack. I was like, I'm diagnosing this thing, and I'm like, hey, we got to get this thing up in the air. I got to look for some wires on the power steering rack. He was like, oh, well, those are cut off right now. I'm an hour into this car. I was like, what do you mean they're cut off? He's like, yeah, the motor came out of it, one with the harness that had a regular power steering pump, and then the harness was wrong. So when we were pulling the motor, we forgot to disconnect it, and we ripped the wires out of it. So it's just hanging right now. Like, well, there's only like 7 wires on that harness, and 4 of them are in and out network wires. So,
got one more thank you in there also for Philadelphia Auto Diagnostics, $5.
Oh yeah, thanks guys.
Thank you.
It's going to go to putting someone through some kind of training class somewhere or something.
Well, no, it's actually going to go to get Bryn some more hair gel.
Did I bore Fonslow out?
He had to go.
Cool. Well, Keith has laid the foot down. He says 10:30s are cut off, so we're in a minute.
10:31.
I personally want to hear what Rich has to say, but
me.
I mean,
we'll tease that for the next one.
I
have a case study, and everybody knows I scream scan tool. I have a case study where 2 different brand scan tools would have sent a tech in the wrong direction, and if I was really paying attention, my scan tool would have sent me in the wrong direction too. So it's a super common problem. It's a really simple diagnosis, but if you hadn't run into the problem before and you were just going off what your scan tool told you, you would have, like this guy did, he spent a lot of time going in the wrong direction. So I think we beat up on Snap-on enough tonight. So
I was just gonna say, I was like, is this like cam timing numbers on a Nissan?
No. Something much more simple than that.
Okay.
And communication on Chevy.
No, and I'll tell you the other scan tool that if I actually was paying more attention, it was a launch that gave me different bad information.
Ooh.
So it was 2 different scan tools, 2 different pieces of bad information.
You son of a
on a
bitch.
very, very simple problem.
You son of a bitch! You're teasing us so much.
I am.
Right
Now you gotta wait.
You gotta do it now.
Language,
No,
Jesus.
We're done.
Come on.
Is that a bad word?
God.
Everybody's gonna know what's wrong with this car almost instantly, but I think the path through, and the tech who was trying to fix the car wasn't doing anything wrong based on the information he had available to him. So I just think it's a cool one. So
Daryl's
gonna have to wait next time.
So
Daryl's regretting telling all his people that he was coming on tonight.
We're good.
So we
The
doing
good
one?
news is out of any of the scan tool manufacturers that will implement some kind of fix to that kind of stuff, it would be Snap-on.
A lot of them would, but my experience is Snap-on tries to make sure it doesn't happen more than most others. I think he's probably more accurate.
Kind of like the whole oxy restraint thing with Toyotas, where they were like, yeah, we just made our tool not talk to that module anymore, so how can it hurt it?
All right.
We'll figure it out later.
Yeah.
Oh, Michael Whitman, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Nice.
Cool.
Hey, we're going to have some T-shirts again really soon, and we really want you guys to buy them when they're available, okay? So keep your eye out.
And we still have our polos up for sale.
Yeah. Polos for sale.
And for anyone wondering where that money goes, it sets in the bank account for hookers and blow. No.
Wait. Who has that bank account?
Is it too late to join Train by Text now?
Yeah.
Huh?
Is it too late to join Train by Text?
So it does go towards scholarship opportunities for technicians to take them places. I mean, there's probably, I'm seeing people in the chat, and I've seen 3 names so far of people that have benefited from being able to go to some training event across the country because we helped with that, or hook them up with people that could help.
And what's cool is that, when we were able to do those things, the love started to spread from there, right? I mean, like a lot of people really got involved, and that's really awesome. And we would do a lot more, and we're going to. I just want you guys to know that we've been working on a nonprofit status, and we're just trying to be really careful of what we do with, like, quote unquote scholarships and stuff like that before we have this nonprofit status.
So what had happened was we had a great idea and it pissed some people off, and we're trying to do things right. Little behind the curtain. So
yeah, basically we're super naive when we started doing some scholarships and raffles to help with scholarships. We're just super naive and really basically dumb, I guess is maybe a better way of saying it. And our heart's in the right place, but when you're doing raffles and scholarships and stuff, you really have to have the right, you have to be the right, you have to be set up to do it. So ultimately, we're working hard to get there. We're just waiting to hear back any day, we're hoping.
We're waiting on them.
Yeah.
We've been waiting on them for how long, Tommy? A year?
Almost a year now. Yeah.
Yeah, between paperwork of setting up a multi-state situation and then COVID, it's not been easy getting a not-for-profit status.
Yeah, with all the members in different states, yes. It's a little hard.
Hey, just real quick, shout out to Caesar for his $4.99.
What happened with the $4.99?
I'm gonna collect the other penny tomorrow. and Mr. Joe Anderson for his $10. Thank you very much.
Was it Ramirez? I didn't see.
Michael Whitman, where are you located? Michael's asking, do any of you allow tag-alongs for a beginning diag tech?
Yeah.
Let us know where you're at. Send us a message. If you're not near any of us, I'm sure we can.
If you did a tag along with me, you'd be in limbo for the whole week and then have 3 calls in one day.
Central Illinois.
How central, Mr. Whitman?
He's just going to say Chicago like everybody else does.
That's what I'm waiting for.
Tommy looks for every opportunity to bust balls on that.
and then most of them move over to Ohio, but they talk about the fact that they lived in Chicago at some point.
I was in Kankakee, Chicago.
North of Peoria.
It's a little bit of a hike.
That's Chicago.
He says he's willing to travel.
Is that still Chicago? That's
he's,
not Chicago.
He's off with a broken
That's not
ankle.
Chicago. That's Iowa, bro.
Yeah, that's the country, man. I think, isn't it, Tommy? That's kind of.
I hate Chicago. Yeah, I hate it here too, bud.
Dusty just donated $20 for Hookers and Blow. Just saying.
All right, Dusty.
Holy moly!
Good auto diagnostics, Saul Martinez.
Wow.
You guys are all awesome.
Don't grow up, Saul. That's part of why we do this.
Well, Mike, if you ever want to come down to Chicago, man, I got you. We can do a ride along, or you can hang out at the shop, man.
And if you want to come to Florida, go talk to Brent.
And hang out all week. Well, I mean, we'll be at the shop. We'll be at the shop diagnosing vehicles. At least
I'll feed you some good food.
Yeah, I have a Chicago thin crust square cut pizza place next door. Pretty good.
Thin crust square cut.
Well, that's the way Chicago's do it, man.
Mm-hmm.
Real pizza.
Real ones, yeah.
That's right. That's right.
So cool. Are we done?
I don't know.
I think everybody's had enough of us.
We can just get money, so let's just keep on going.
Well, one more there from Chris Groff again. Thank you for the $20.
Thank you, Chris.
Thanks, Chris.
Chris brought up some great points in the chat during the case study, and I missed it. So.
But more importantly, the more money you guys donate to us, the better quality hookers we can get.
Jesus, man.
My hookers, he's referring to piercing probes with the hookers.
Yeah,
that's all he's referring to.
Like
there will be probes, yes.
And Automotive Dr. Wilson, thank you as well for the $20.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, man.
Thank you guys, really.
Man, that's enough to go around right now.
Thank you.
Our special guests do not get any of that.
not a dime. Not a dime. They just they get the notoriety and they get to learn new words like badgers.
Wait till they get the bill for being on.
Which, by the way, I believe Dusty Harrison went out and actually bought that website, just to say.
That's the name of his new shop, Badgers.
I'd like to thank everybody, though, again. Holy moly, look at this. Keith Perkins.
Keith.
That guy?
I keep that.
Look at what he did.
Jeez.
Hey, Tommy, you can write me that check for that later.
All I got is plastic, buddy. So you tell me where.
Yeah, seriously, guys, you're amazing. Look at this. Jose Vargas, another $9.99.
Joe's Auto Electric.
What's with your guys, Tommy?
I don't know, man. I'm going to buy him lunch tomorrow, little bastard.
Penny short.
That's my nephew, guys.
Hey,
I said it in the chat.
I'm sorry, Jose.
Next week.
I know.
Are we doing this next week?
I think, we're going to do Rich's next week, right?
Yeah, and mine as well.
All right, so we got 2 more case studies next week. Awesome.
Let's make it official.
It
next
may
week,
not be the
time.
same day.
Luis, thank you.
Yeah, we'll announce the date very shortly because it may not be the same day because I believe some of us have some training to do as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll certainly be back though. We have a few more case studies for you, and we have a guest lined up.
We will by then.
I was thinking about. I think Warren Parr is one of the founders of the Pico Club, or one of the initial ones. So I might ask him to come on. We'll see.
Sounds great.
Jim Morton said earlier that we should mention it's Dave DeCourcy's birthday.
Happy birthday!
Yeah.
Another lost instructor, and I think the class I was teaching tonight was written at least partially by him. So that's kind of cool.
Thanks for the reminder, Jim.
So now that we brought everybody down, we can go home.
Yeah, like your background wasn't doing that for me.
Yeah, I know. Whether it was a tribute or depressed people, but
yeah.
Who died today?
Eddie Van Halen.
Who's that?
All right, we're gonna leave now.
That's white people music, Tommy. Sorry.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm allergic to that.
Tommy, what am I gonna do?
He was a mariachi. Really, really good one.
I'm allergic to that too. Just like New York pizza.
Yeah, buddy. All right. Again, and just want to say thank you again, everybody, for coming out tonight and all your amazing donations, because that's that's a big thing. You know, it helps us do a lot of things for other people in the industry as well as far, and also to help us out to keep this going.
Hey,
absolutely.
Did I just point out that we made the most money on the night that I did a case study?
Yeah, you know.
Brand, first of all.
But it only started at the point where we said, "Okay, guys, it's time to go."
They were paying you to shut up.
Paying me to shut up. Yes. Exactly.
Don't make me change my background because you know I will.
No, we got to cut this off now.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to keep your head perfectly center if you change that background.
All right, guys.
From here
Good night.
Y'all have a good
Brandon
evening.
and Daryl, thank you again for coming out here and
Yes.
And sharing with us.
And Matt Fanslow.
Yep.
Fanslow.
Fanslow.
Super
And we
fun.
want to know on the Train by Text Facebook page there. You guys can also sit there and add in some chats. I'll leave something on there, an open comment. But we want to know when you're doing your play dates.
Yeah, we want to see videos. We want to see videos and pictures.
Hey, Brian, you think maybe we can coordinate something on the website? Possibly.
Sure.
Or even we could
calendar?
sit there and play that on a video the next time that we do a live stream. If we get some play dates in there, we can play some clips of it.
Can we also choose the official name that's different than Playdates?
No, Playdates. It has to be.
It has to be Playdates, bro. Come on, man.
Well, I'm fine with.
Come play with my Pico, guys.
That's a good point. I'm gonna throw Brian under the bus and say, send Brian some video footage so he can edit it, and we'll put it out as a Train by Text video. What do you guys think?
Sure.
Yeah. Unless it sucks, and then we won't.
I have the name. We're gonna call them Tech Togethers.
Tech Together.
Titties.
Tech Togethers.
And on that note, good night, everybody.
Beep.
Oh, Lord.
Oh yeah, Hans says we need to do a training montage with some good 80s music behind it.
Hans
All right,
said
good
that.
night, guys.
Good night.
All right.
All right.
All right. Good night, everybody.
Night.
Good night, all.
Night, guys.
Yeah.
Night.